Hello, fellow readers. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. We have just finished our 180th state required school day, and so now we are officially in summer. Yay! Some of you may have noticed that I kind of went MIA during the last few months. But I really don't regret taking that time away from the camera to spend some time with our beloved Grandpa Fred, my father in law. April was especially hard for all of us dealing with his passing, but surprisingly, my reading did not take a dip, and in fact, I read a lot more in April than I had from January through to March. Benefits of being an escapist reader, maybe? But enough about April. You came to find out what I'm reading for May and the Black Cat Carnival readathon, which is hosted by Books by Lexi. If you don't know what this readathon is, I'm going to leave a link to Lexi's announcement video, which she does a phenomenal job describing how the readathon is going to be run, along with how to sign up and do all of the things that you need to do for this readathon. One thing that Lexi created with this was some graphics, one of them being a TBR list, which tells you all of the buildings that are there and the prompts that go with them. So I'm going to kind of use this as a guide, deviate a little bit as we go through, and tell you what I'm planning on reading for these buildings. One thing to keep in mind is that when we reach the point of possibly escaping the Black Cat Carnival, is that there are going to be some additional prompts that we have from the game masters. And to find out about these, I'm going to throw out some shorts and my vlogs a little more regularly during the month of May so that you can keep up with the books that I add to my TBR list during the month. So let's get started. First up, let's visit the Good Fortunes building. The prompt for this building is to read a book from your most read or favorite genre. One genre that I have read a lot from in the last year is the fantasy romance genre. I've had a great time with this, and also many fantasy romance are parts of a series, and I want to knock some of these series off my list before I start new ones. So I'm going to continue a series that I've already started, and that's the Persephone and Hades saga. I started reading A Touch of Darkness and then immediately jumped into A Touch of Ruin without realizing that there's another part of the series that you're supposed to read along with the touch of with Persephone's point of view. And that's a game of, which are Hades' points of view for the same books. So when you read A Touch of Darkness, you should then read A Game of Fate, because it's the same events in both books, but you get both sides of the story. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and start A Game of Fate. In this one, we have Persephone and Hades' love story is continuing. Hades has been told by the fates that he is destined to marry and make Persephone his queen. The only problem is they kind of start off on opposite sides of life. Hades owns luxurious um, night nightclubs and is known for um, his bargains, and many of them are unfair bargains. So Persephone wants to use her journalism studies to expose Hades for who he is, that he is this cruel person. Um, but things don't happen the way that the two expect. So I'm excited now to check out the events of A Touch of Darkness from Hades' perspective. Up next, it's the Unfair Wheel. And the prompt for this building is a book from the top of your TBR. This was an easy pick for me this month because I went to the library and just happened to see that they had Saga Volume 10. And it's due in like 5 days, and I cannot renew it. It has holds on it, and so I have to turn it in. So, has to be read quickly, and luckily for me, it's a graphic novel. And in 2022, when I read the first 9 volumes, it only took me a month plus everything else I was reading to finish them. So this one will be a quick read. The premise of this series is we're following a star-crossed family. The husband, wife, mom, dad, however you want to refer to them, are not supposed to be together, and they aren't supposed to have children together. And when they have a child, the entire universe starts chasing after them to kill the child and punish mom and dad. So, star-crossed family and their adventures through their world trying to escape persecution. I will say this is a very mature graphic novel, so adult readers only. There is nudity and everything else in this, so adults only, please. Let's head over to one of my favorite parts of any carnival, and that's the food court. I just wish food courts weren't so expensive, right? This prompt is a popcorn read, which is a book that I know I will like, um, or something that, is that light, fun read. And I have picked What Makes Us Mighty, which is the 7th novel in the Firefly novel series. I have had so much fun reading these, and so it's time for the next one. In this one, we are following the crew of Serenity for a simple job. But is anything really simple with Mal? Some fine hospitality, which Zoe's gut is telling her something is off, and a vicious massacre that Mal and Zoe are going to investigate. I've enjoyed reading all of the other books in this series so far, like I said, and I cannot wait to see what MK England is going to bring to the world of Firefly. Let's go ahead and scoot over to the horsing around building where the prompt is an intimidating read. I have picked another book from a series that I want to finish in 2024, and that is Written in My Own Heart's Blood. As you can easily see, what intimidates me about this book, it wouldn't be the 1,117 pages or 45 hours of audio, would it? Oh, in this Outlander novel, we're continuing to follow Claire Randall Fraser during the War of 1778. In English history, this is known as the Bourbon War. In French history, this is known as either the War of 1778 or the Anglo French War. We're also going to get to see what's happening with Brianna, Roger, and their children in the 20th century. I've had a lot of fun so far with this series, even though their size is a little intimidating. And to wrap up this series, I want to continue reading during this month. Let's pop over to the Hard Hitter building in a book that I think I will rate as 5 stars. The book I've picked is the third book in the Black Winter series by Darcy Coates. I really enjoyed Voices in the Snow and Secrets in the Dark, both of which I gave 5 stars. Now I'm just hoping that the trend will continue with Whispers in the Mist. In this book, we are following Claire and Dorian as they try to make it to the mysterious Evendale research station. It's not going to be easy, but what has been easy for Claire since she drove into the forest to her grandmother's house. This time, however, the ravenous hollows are not the only danger, and Claire might find out that danger lurks everywhere. The next building we're going to visit is No Strings Attached, which is a recommendation from a friend. I reached out to my sister, who rarely has led me wrong, and she suggested Bride by Ali Hazelwood. In this book, we have a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf who form a dangerous alliance to bring peace to their people. I've seen this book a few times lately on uh, BookTube and Bookstagram, and it's the same author who wrote The Love Hypothesis, which I enjoyed, so let's give this one a shot. On to Bullseye Battle and a new to me author. I've picked a 2016 release, which is for the In Case You Missed It year-long readathon, hosted by Book Girls Guide. The title is The Matchmakers of Minnow Bay. In this book, we're going to meet Lily, who has to travel to Minnow Bay to get her quickie Las Vegas marriage annulled. The only problem, it's been 10 years since that night in Las Vegas, and Ben Hutchinson doesn't even know that they're still married. Once Lily gets to Minnow Bay, she sees that Ben has made some changes in his life, and now that annulment isn't looking the same. Another 2016 release that I saw on Book Girls Guide, in case you missed it list, brings us to Heads Up Building. The prompt is the opposite of The Last Building, an author you have read from before. I picked Taylor Jenkins Reid's One True Loves. This book opens with high school sweethearts Emma and Jesse celebrating their 1 year anniversary. But Jesse's helicopter has disappeared over the Pacific, and just like that, Jesse's gone forever. Years later, Emma has started to pick up the pieces of her life. She has fallen in love again and is engaged. And then Jesse is found alive. Now Emma must make a choice. Who is her true love? The last building that I have a couple options for is the Funhouse. This is a poll picked book. Enchanted Fandom's Backlist Book Club has put out their poll, and we're down to, it looks like, 2 finalists. And I just have to wait until everyone picks between Witch Please, which was my pick, or Savage Land. Witch Please looks like it's going to be a rom-com, and this is totally an easy pick for me, especially this month when I'm wanting to read a little more. While Savage Land seems to be a fantasy romance with some world building going into it. It does take place in our world, but the Fae land has encroached into modern day Earth over the Budapest area. So I think there's going to be a little world building in this. Again, is it going to be horrible if this one gets picked? No, but I could see myself wanting Witch Please just a little bit more. To find out which one that I actually end up reading, keep an eye out for a YouTube short or a vlog that talks about which book is going to be read. The only prompt I have not picked a book for yet is for the Cutthroat Circus building. This building's prompt is to pick a book off of a team leader's YouTube thumbnail. I have not yet looked at their thumbnails to know what book I would want to read based on that, what book it reminds me of. So keep your eyes out for a YouTube short or my vlog video to see which book I picked for this prompt. And that's all the buildings. Will I personally visit all 10 buildings? I hope so, but I'm not sure it will happen because of the prompts that will come up for us to escape. When we unlock a building, there will be prompts that come for us to then get out of that building. Luckily, though, we get to work together as a team, and the team that I picked is the Thrill Seekers. While I usually don't ride very many rides at carnivals and circuses, or carnivals and fairs, I mean, have you seen how fast those get built and taken back down? Not safe in my mind. But I do love rides at amusement parks, and I love to see how those rides work. So let's go Thrill Seekers. If you're participating in the readathon this month, let me know in the comments which team you're on. And here's to escaping the Black Cat Carnival.